So, welcome to the next edition of the Rare Business Podcast. With me today, I have Evan Carroll. Hi, Evan.
Hello.
So, Evan, for the benefit of our listeners and readers, can you tell us a little bit about you and a little bit about the work that you do?
Absolutely. So I'm an author and a speaker.
Uh-huh.
And I run a small consultancy called Evan Carroll and Associates.
Okay.
You can imagine where I got the name for that company from, and very, very easy to figure that one out. So I spend my time helping companies innovate at the intersection of people, and technology. And a significant implication of this is with relation to the customer experience and the customer service and how we can use technology to make our customers' lives better. Because all too many times I feel like companies only manage to make customers' lives worse when they bring technology in, and I'm on a mission to stop that trend.
Fantastic. So, now, you just published a new book called Blue Goldfish, using technology, data, and analytics to drive both profits and profits. And the second profit is with a PH, which is very clever. And so can you tell me a little bit more about the book and why you wrote it? But I also know that it's part of a series of books, the Goldfish series, that was initiated by Stan Feld. So can you also tell us how you got involved with the project as well?
Absolutely. So Blue Goldfish is the fourth book in the series of Goldfish books with Stan. It's the first one with a co-author, and so I'm honored to be brought into the series. And Blue Goldfish is all about how companies are using technology, data, and analytics to improve customer experience. Mm-hmm. So Stan and I realized there was a gap in the market where all executives understand that data and technology is an important asset to their business. However, they don't have the technical understanding to really operationalize that. Right. And so we wanted to write a book that helped the everyday business person, not a technologist, but the everyday business person, understand the practical applications for data and technology in their business. Right. And so Blue Goldfish is a compilation of case studies. We started by collecting more than 300 examples of companies that we felt like were doing innovative things with data technology and analytics, and we honed that down to the best of the best. And those are the ones that we wrote about in Blue Goldfish. So when you pick up a copy, you will walk away not with the blueprint of how to build your own Blue Goldfish, but you'll walk away with the inspiration of what is possible with data. And as a good friend of mine once said, to be a good strategist, you have to understand what tactics are available to you, and that's exactly what Blue Goldfish does.
Excellent. So, but now in the series, there's been purple, there's been gold, there's green, but now there's blue. Now, is there a significance behind the color blue, and if so, why blue?
Absolutely. So purple, green, and gold were the first three. So purple talked about the little things that customers or that companies could do to make a big difference. Green focused on employee experience, mm-hmm. and gold focused on how you take care of the top 20% of your customers. The book Blue Goldfish is a bit different than the first three in that instead of talking about a specific subset of people, we're actually instead of that being the significance of the color, the significance comes from the fact that we're talking about technology, data, and analytics. So it's a little bit of a different twist on the question. And blue is it was inspired by many things, and so it's very easy if you look at the branding for various technology companies, you'll see they use a lot of blue. Right. And blue is a color that's often associated with technology companies. However, our inspiration for using blue actually goes back to the 10th century, mm-hmm. and so 10th century Danish king, his name's Harald Blatand. Actually, Harold Gormanson, his nickname was Blatan, and he united Scandinavia, brought the Danes to Christianity, all sorts of wonderful things. And he is actually the namesake of the Bluetooth technology standard.
Right.
And so, quite literally, King Harold had a blue tooth. He had a tooth that had died, and his nickname became Bluetooth. And in the sense that he was a king who united peoples, and Bluetooth was actually a consortium that came together of different personal area networking standards. Sony and Ericsson and IBM were all working on different ones. They came together, and Bluetooth became the code name for that project. And ultimately, the marketers could not figure out a better name, and that's how we ended up with Bluetooth.
Right.
And the interesting thing is if you look at the iconic Bluetooth logo and you take the Nordic letter for H as in Harold, the Nordic letter for B as in Blatand, you overlay them in a bind rune and you will have the exact shape of that funky Bluetooth logo that you see on your mobile devices, on your laptops today. So very, very, very interesting story there. And so in the same sense that Bluetooth was uniting people around one standard, in the same sense that King Harold united peoples, we're all about the convergence of big data and little data. That is, big data that tells you the trend of what's going on, and little data that gives you insights about one customer, how they compare to that trend, and give you the insights that you need to deliver personalized service to that customer.
Okay, that's very clever. I like it.
Yes.
So you did talk about kind of it's all these kind of case studies and things, and it's about sort of giving people sort of ideas and inspiration about how they can use big data, little data to drive profits and engagement and all of that sort of stuff and improve experience. But when I went through the book, it's split into 3 sections that cover 3R's. And that's how you've almost tried to organize it and organize the stories and the inspiration. So can you tell me about each of the R's and why they're important?
Absolutely. So when we looked at our 300 plus examples, we started to see trends that some examples were like others, and we organized them and came to the 3R's. And the first is relationship. And this covers companies who are using technology to better understand their customer, so they can have a deeper relationship with them, and thus tailor their service. The second R is responsiveness, and so this covers the ability to reduce wait times, to resolve issues more quickly, and to eliminate waiting altogether if possible. So how responsive can the company be, and how can technology help to empower that? The third R is readiness, and this is all about things that a company can do to be prepared for in advance of that customer's need or interaction coming to them. So what kinds of things can they do in the background? What can they do ahead of time to be prepared? And so relationship, responsiveness, and readiness are 3R's. And as Lagniappe, which being a goldfish book, we have to talk about Lagniappe, that Creole word that gives a little something extra. We have a 4th R that's robots, and that's purely just for fun. But there is that 4th R slipped in the book.
Ah, there you go. That's something that when I kind of went through it, I obviously went through it a bit too quickly. Never mind. But so to bring this to life and to give us a bit of a flavour of some of the stories and things, can you give me a sort of a couple of examples of firms or brands that are using big data and little data and to improve sort of their experience and their service and engagement with their customers, and sort of like let's get under the hood a little bit, and can you tell me like what they're doing specifically and what sort of benefits they're achieving?
Yes, absolutely. So my very favorite example comes from the 4th largest bank in Australia and New Zealand, a bank called Westpac. And Westpac has a significant big data initiative, and they call it the Know Me program.
Right.
And what's special about the Know Me program, and the reason I think it's a significant example, it's not that they've just done the analytics. They've done the operational and cultural work inside the company to operationalize those insights and actually have a true impact on the customer and the customer journey. And so what Westpac has done is they have mined their hundreds of billions of transactions that they process on a monthly basis, and they have started to understand their customers at a very personal level. And from that set of big data, they're able to reveal trends. And so an example of this might be, Adrian, let's say you and I are very similar customers. We fit in similar age brackets. We're in similar locales. We have our station in life, if you will, is very similar. And let's say that customers like us tend to have a certain three accounts. And when you have account 1 and you have account 2, there's a 90% chance that the next account you choose to open is account number 3.
Right.
Well, let's say you have account number 3. I don't. The next time I'm speaking with a customer service representative or a teller at Westpac, they will offer me account 3.
Right.
And the amazing thing here is that their conversion rate on these next best offers, they call them, is north of 40%. So 40% of next best offers are accepted. And the brilliant thing, Adrian, is that the people who are giving these next best offers, they're not salespeople.
Right.
They are customer service representatives, and they are tellers.
Right.
Individuals who are fundamentally wired to offer customer service. And so, and I mentioned the cultural work here is that they have trained these individuals to not sell. In fact, I would argue they're not selling. They're just doing what's best for the customer because they truly believe that this is the next best offer for that customer.
So do they do something? Do they do something like when they train them? I don't know if you know this, but will they do something like? I feel like preface that offer that says we've done a whole bunch of data work and we understand that there's a lot of customers that are like you, and actually the customers are like you. They've got these 2 accounts. They generally go for this next account as the next best step. And would they tend to do it that way, or would they just try and just not use the data angle and the analytics angle?
I'm not sure if they do. I'm not sure what the exact training program is for their customer service representatives. However, I would imagine that being able to say, we find that customers like you tend to get this account next. Right. It's a very innocuous statement, but also provides a level of social proof to that recommendation. So if they're not doing it, I would hope they would soon start doing that. I would imagine they would see an even better conversion rate from doing so.
Yeah, because it seems to me as it's almost a bit like you're because there's always going to be there's always a fear in some people's kind of minds that when they just think, oh, they're just kind of trying to upsell me, and well, some people will be will be adverse to that. But if you actually show that you've done some work, some analysis, that may actually build an extra bridge in some cases.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and I think the brilliance of their strategy is they truly do believe that these are the best offer for the customer, and they've integrated these offers into their systems that they use sort of in the line. So the system the teller uses or the system the customer service representative uses. So there's no extra work,
right,
aside from bringing the subject up that representative has to do. And so they made it extremely easy, and that's what I meant when I alluded to how they operationalized it inside the company. So certainly a very poignant example, and one that we're particularly proud of because they've been doing this for a number of years now. Right. And so I think this is the type of thing that many companies still aspire to do, much less have operationalized it.
And have you got another sort of example that you could share with us that of a company doing something slightly different that you can share with our audience?
Yes, absolutely. So another of my favorite examples, and this one isn't about data. This one's more about technology more broadly. Okay. Is a few years ago, Amazon came out with a brand new tablet, the Kindle Fire HDX, mm-hmm. and they came out with this tablet on March 31st of all days, and coming out with it on March 31st, they were touting all the features of it, demoing the tablet, and then Jeff Bezos showed off a brand new feature called the Mayday button. Yeah. And quite literally, when you press the button on your Kindle Fire HDX tablet, you're connected with a customer service representative via video chat. Mm-hmm. They can hear you. You can hear them. They can see your screen, and you can see their face. Right. What you cannot see is they can't see your camera, so they can't kind of peer into your life. But what it allows them to do is you have trouble using your tablet or have a question, you simply press the Mayday button, and they're connected up with you, and they can help you with whatever problems you might have. They can draw on your screen and show you how to do certain things. And the feedback initially was one that many people thought that Amazon had released their April Fool's joke early,
right?
Because it was just such a outlandish concept, and as we've learned to expect from Amazon, they're going to do fanatical things to improve customer service, and so this actually was one of them. And their goal was to connect you with a customer service representative within 15 seconds.
Right.
And presently, the average is 9 seconds. Okay. And I challenge anyone to tell me of a time that they have looked up a phone number and dialed a customer service center and spent less than 9 seconds doing so. It's phenomenal, the response time they're seeing.
I'm not sure my mum picks up the phone that quick. That's that's very. I mean, that's amazing. That's really, really quick. Very impressive.
Absolutely.
So here's
go ahead.
Here's the thing is that, broadly speaking, I mean, there's all these ideas, and the book is rich with different sort of stories and inspiration about different people doing different sort of things. But if I was to say to you, Evan, is say there's an entrepreneur, an executive, or something that's listening to this podcast, and I was to say to you, that's brilliant. Technology, data, analytics. Let's focus on sort of the data and analytics, because I think that's where some of the real power is, and because the technology will kind of change. If somebody wanted to get started with that, based on some of the principles and the insights that you're sharing in Blue Goldfish, I mean, where would you say that they should start? What's your kind of top tips to get going, to start leveraging some of the value that's in these sort of areas that you're talking about?
Absolutely. So I have 2 top tips for you.
Okay.
The first tip is to focus on the data.
Okay.
And how that affects the person, and not on the technology or the possibilities with that data. And so the subtle distinction there is it's very easy to get lost on all the possibilities, everything you can do with the data. But if you approach it from the position of what does this one data point or this set of data points tell me about this customer, or tell me about customers like this, then you're maintaining that human focus. I feel like companies who get so engrossed in data and what they can do with data often come out the other side with a lot of data and a lot of charts and graphs and analyses, but they still don't know what to do. And so I think always keep that customer in mind when you start down the path of looking at your data.
Okay.
The second tip is you will inevitably find many different insights that you could potentially use. And I feel like companies who try to operationalize everything all at one time, they're going to spend so much time working to get things done that they're not actually going to accomplish anything. So my advice would be to pick one project, the one project that you think will show the most return on investment, and focus all of your energy on that. And once you master that, then add the second or the third project. And the reason I recommend that is twofold. First, in any corporate environment, you have to show ROI to keep your project going. And I believe that if you subdivide your time too much, then it's going to be difficult to show ROI on that one project, and you won't necessarily get the buy-in to accomplish everything else you possibly could. So focus on that one win that you can start with. And second is there's nothing better than one mission to kind of get a team rallied around. I think the more things you try to do at once, the more diluted your purpose and your message becomes. And so my 2 pieces of advice: focus on what the data tells you about the person, and then pick one project that you feel like is going to have the most significant return on investment and can potentially be a quick win for you, and that's where you should focus your time.
I mean, I would add to the point around picking kind of one thing at a time, because it's a bit like, it's almost a bit like if you try and do more than one thing at once, then you sort of muddy the waters in terms of knowing what works and what doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So actually doing one thing at one thing at once, you can actually get a real clear view on it, if things work or if they don't work. And if they don't work, then you can discontinue them. But then if they do work, you can keep going, and you look for the next thing, and you build it up as layers, I guess.
Yes, you're absolutely right. You want to be able to prove that ROI of the project.
Sure.
And you certainly want to, in true scientific method fashion, you want to make sure you control as many variables as possible.
Yeah. So, Evan, that's great. I mean, is there anything else that we've missed about the book that's important that you want to share with our listeners before I ask you my final? It's famous question. It's famous in my own mind, but my final famous question.
So I would say that the book is full of stories, just like the two that we talked about here. There's we cover at least 3 dozen or so in the book throughout the course, and then there's some smaller ones we kind of pepper in. So the book is rich with these examples, and I would. I feel like I can't do the book justice in just 20 minutes, so I would encourage you to make sure you get a copy and dig into it. And I would, I guess the final thought I would add is that it's just been an amazing process hearing about all of these companies who are doing great things. And the thing I would love nothing more is that for your listeners to share with us the blue goldfish they have in their own companies, because I feel like this should be an ongoing conversation and not just a one and done. So we'd love to have that conversation.
Excellent. And I think you might have just answered my my final question, which was, is there anything that you'd like to shamelessly plug? So I think you might have just done that already.
Well, Adrian, I did hear about your famous question, and aside from the book, which we've spent a lot of time talking about, I do have something to shamelessly plug in addition.
Oh, cool. That's brilliant. So go ahead.
And so, yes, your question is famous. Stan Phelps prepped me that you would ask that question, and it was quite famous. The ask I would make of your listeners is that Stan and I are going to be rolling out a new series of workshops and training sessions around blue goldfish thinking, and we would love to, if you see a fit for those in either your organization or certainly have any events that you'd like to see either of us at, we'd love to hear from you. So I guess my shameless plug is that my email box is open to you. Please send away.
Fantastic. Well, Evan, I'll make sure I get that all linked up and edited up and written up, and hopefully with some of our readers and listeners, I'll get them pointed your way. But just wanted to say thank you for sharing your experience. Thank you for sharing with us a few stories about blue goldfish, and congratulations on producing the book. That's great.
Thank you so much, Adrian. It was a pleasure to be here on the Rare Business Podcast with you.
Thanks. It was brilliant.